So the last thing we're going to do before we send this thing to powder coat or paint or whatever you're going to finish it with is we're going to put on our fenders. So if you got the standard package, you didn't get the fender package add-on, you'll have an extra set of gussets like this, and these are just going to go right here, and they're designed to be put in a little bit at a downward angle. As you'll see that this seam fits up nice as soon as you get it to the correct angle. I like to put it a little bit on the inside of the outer edge, so there's a little bit of a radius to fill here with weld. I usually stitch weld it 3 to 4 times and then solid weld this seam here. So if you have the standard one, this is the last thing you need to do. I'm not going to weld this on as this bed's going to have a fender kit, but if you got the standard one, just weld this on, tack weld it 3 positions, then stitch weld it, solid weld, repeat on the other side, and you should be ready to go. If you got the fender kit, then you're probably going to have something that looks like this. You might have a different variation of this, but it's going to be this shape. So same thing on this is whether or not you want it. So there's a few different ways you can put this on. You can put it on so it's flush here, and then you can do a nice big weld and grind it off so this is all, looks like all one solid piece. That is the most work. I will warn you now, there's going to be a lot of grinding and welding that you got to do. The second one is kind of my personal favorite. I think it looks very industrial and looks good, is to kind of put it at a slight angle, downward pitch, and a little bit inset. Just gives you another body line, and also just, I think it just looks stouter, but again, up to you if you want to do it flush like this or you want to do a little more inset with some slope. I'm going to weld this on with some slope, a little bit inset. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tack weld it in 3 or 4 positions. So make sure when you get up here to the front side to tack it that it's, you know, at the same, there's the same amount of overhang or underhang, I guess you would say, the entire distance of this. Don't make sure it's not too far in like so or too far out. Make sure it's nice and even, and then just tack weld up here. So after you got it tack welded, I'm going to move to the front, but basically I would do 6 or 8 stitch welds and then solid weld this seam here. If you want to solid weld it, you can. Just a matter of how much gas and wire you want to burn. I usually stitch weld it. You can't really see the weld when you're standing at, you know, eye level, so whatever you want to do is up to you. So we're going to move to the front one now. Alright, so I'm up here at the front. I'm going to put this front fender on. You might have a variation of this, but it's going to be this shape. We're going to do the same exact thing as the back. We want to make sure that this front edge is flushed up with the front of our bed. I have a magnet here just to kind of act as a stopper for it to match up perfectly on the front side. But so when we put this up here, you need to make sure that your pitch, whatever angle you put this at, matches the back. You want it in the same line, obviously, and you also want it the same amount of inset, just so it matches the whole way. So I'm going to get mine pretty close here and then tack weld it. And same deal up here. Once you get it tack welded in a few positions, I just stitch weld it 6 or 8 times, you know, 2 or 3 inch stitch welds all the way back. And after that, it's ready to go to powder coat. There is one more thing I want to show you up here on the front side, and also this bonus video that is next. I'm going to show you how to put a step on here if you want to do that. So if you want to put a step on, stick around for the bonus video, and I'm also going to go over one more thing on this front corner and some small housekeeping things just to make sure you got done before it goes to powder coat. So stay tuned for that. So one more thing I want to address on these fenders. If you have the fender kit, it's gonna really add some professionalism to your bed if you add a small piece right here. The reason being is this is going to hang out past the cab an inch or two, and it's going to look really odd if this is just hanging down and there's some blank space right here. So what I would suggest is you can cut a kind of a imperfect rectangle. You can either cut it out of your scrap of your leftover outer frame, or if you have some 4-inch flat bar, but I would recommend about 4 inches wide. coming into about here, and then just custom cutting this angle to match whatever pitch you have your fender at, and then just welding this up, grinding it off into a radius. That's just going to make this look super professional on this front corner. So I'd recommend doing that and grinding it all off so that they're seamless. You want to weld this solid here, grind this off, and then where the seam will be here, you want to weld this in solid, and also right here, and then grind it off and do a nice radius. That's just going to give this bed a really professional look. No daylight when you look at it from the front corner. So if you are going to put a step on, which is one of the bonus videos, wait until we get that done, because it's going to be a little bit different process to deal with this this gap right here. So if you're doing a step, just wait for that video. I'll go over how to make this look professional up here. But as far as everything else goes, we are pretty much done. Congratulations. Hope this was easy to follow. A few housekeeping things before you send it to powder coat. Make sure that you don't have any heat signatures where you welded, on your tail or anything. If you do have any, make sure and grind those off. Those will show up if you get it painted or powder coated. So anywhere there's a heat signature on a side that's going to show, just get your flap disc and grind that off smooth. But other than that, you're ready to send this to powder coat. So congratulations.